Chapter 18. I roll Play-Doh to the death. You don't hear heroes say that a lot. Quick, boy wonder, to the pottery studio. But Alex's tone left no doubt it was a matter of life and death. The nearest ceramics workshop, a place called the Earthery, turned out to be on my favorite street, the Shambles. I didn't see this as a good omen. While TJ and I waited outside, Alex spent a few minutes talking with the proprietor, who at last emerged, grinning and holding a large wad of multicolored money. "Have fun, lads," he said as he hurried down the street. "Brilliant! Ta!" "Thank you," TJ waved, "and thanks for not getting involved in the Civil War." We headed inside, where Alex was taking inventory. Work tables, potter's wheels, metal shelves lined with half-finished pots, tubs filled with tools, a cabinet stacked with slabs of wet clay and plastic bags. In the back of the studio, one door led to a small bathroom, another to what looked like a storage room. "This might work," Alex muttered. "Maybe." "Did you buy this place?" I asked. "Don't be silly. I just paid the owner for 24 hours exclusive use. But I paid well." "In British pounds," I noted. "Where did you get so much local cash?" She shrugged, her attention on counting bags of clay. "It's called preparation, Chase. I figured we'd be traveling through the UK and Scandinavia. I brought euros, kronor, and pounds. Compliments all of my family. And by compliments, I mean I stole it." I remembered my dream of Alex in front of her house, the way she'd snarled, "I don't want your money." Maybe she'd meant she only wanted it on her terms. I could respect that. But how'd she gotten so many different currencies? I couldn't guess. "Stop gawping and help me," she ordered. I wasn't gawping. "We need to finish these tables together," she said. "TJ, push these tables together. TJ, go see if there's more clay in the back. We need a lot more." "On it." TJ dashed to the supply room. Alex and I moved 4 tables together, making a work surface big enough to play ping pong on. TJ hauled out extra bags of clay until I estimated we had an adequate amount to make ceramic Volkswagen. Alex looked back and forth between the clay and the potter's wheels. She tapped her thumbnail nervously against her teeth. "Not enough time," she muttered. "Drying, glazing, firing." "Alex," I said, "if you want us to help you, you're going to have to explain what we're doing." TJ edged away from me in case Alex brought out the garrote. She just glared at me. "You would know what I'm doing if you'd taken Pottery 101 in Valhalla with me like I asked you." I had a scheduling conflict. In fact, I hadn't liked the idea of pottery to the death, especially if it involved getting thrown in a fiery kiln. "Stone giants have a tradition called Tvirvigi," said Alex. "Double combat. It's like Viking single combat in Vigi," TJ added, "except with Tvir instead of Ein." "Fascinating," I said. "I know. I read about it in—" "Please don't say a travel guide." TJ looked at the floor. Alex picked up a box of assorted wooden tools. "Honestly, Chase, we don't have time to bring you up to speed. TJ fights Hugnir. I make a ceramic warrior who fights the giant's ceramic warrior. You play Waterboy or Heel or whatever. It's pretty straightforward." I stared at the bags of clay. "A ceramic warrior? As in magic pottery?" "Pottery 101, Alex repeated, like that was obvious. "TJ, would you start cutting those slabs? I need slices 1 inch thick. About 60 or 70 of them." "Sure. Do I get to use your garrote?" Alex laughed long and hard. "Absolutely not. There should be a cutter in that gray tub." TJ skulked off to find regular clay cutter. "And you," Alex told me, "you're going to be making coils." "Coils?" "I know you can roll clay into coils. It's just like making snakes out of Play-Doh." I wondered how she knew my dark secret, that I had enjoyed Play-Doh as a kid. And when I say a kid, I mean up to, like, age 11. I grudgingly admitted that this was within my scope of talents. "And you?" "The hardest part is using the wheel," she said. "The most important components have to be thrown." By thrown, I knew she meant shaped on the wheel, not thrown across the room, though with Alex, the two activities often went together. "All right, boys," she said, "let's get to work." After a few hours spent rolling coils, my shoulders ached. My shirt stuck to my sweaty skin. When I closed my eyes, clay snakes flopped around in the back of my eyelids. The only relief was getting up to change the station on the proprietor's little radio whenever Alex or TJ didn't like a song. TJ preferred martial music, but English radio had a shocking lack of marching band tunes. Alex favored songs from Japanese anime, although in short supply on the AM/FM dial. Finally, they both settled on Duran Duran, for reasons I can't explain. From time to time, I brought Alex soft drinks from the proprietor's mini-fridge. Her favorite was Tizir, a sort of cherry soda with extra twang. I didn't like it, but Alex quickly got addicted. Her lips turned bright red like a vampire's, which I found both disturbing and strangely fascinating. Meanwhile, TJ ran back and forth between his slab cutting and kiln, which he was heating up for an epic day of firing. He seemed to take special pleasure in poking pencil stub-sized dents in the slabs so they wouldn't crack when baked. He did this while humming, "Hungry Like a Wolf," not my favorite song given my personal history. TJ seemed cheerful for a guy who had a duel scheduled with a 20-foot-tall stone giant in the morning. I decided not to remind him that if he died here in England he would stay dead, no matter how friendly the locals were. I had placed my work table as close as I could to Alex's wheel so I could talk to her. Usually I waited to ask her a question until she was centering a new lump of clay. With both her hands engaged, she was less likely to hit me. "Have you done this before?" I asked. "Made a pottery guy?" She glanced over, her face flecked with white porcelain. "Tried a few times. Nothing this big. But my family—" She bore down on the clay, molding it into a beehive-like cone. Like Hungnir said, we have the necessary skills. Your family. I tried to imagine Loki sitting at the table, rolling clay snakes. The Fieros. Alex shot me a wary look. You really don't know? Never heard of Fiero ceramics? Should I have? She smiled as if she found my ignorance refreshing. If you knew anything about cooking or home decor, maybe. It was a hot brand about 10 years ago, but that's fine. I'm not talking about the machine-made crap my dad sells anyway. I'm talking about my grandfather's art. He started the business when he emigrated from Tlactico. Tlactico? I tried to place the name. I'm guessing that's outside I-95? Alex laughed. No reason you'd have heard of it. Tiny place in Mexico. These days it's really just a subsection of Mexico City. According to my grandfather, our family has been making pottery there since before the Aztecs. Tlactico used to be this super ancient culture. She pressed her thumbs into the center of her beehive, opening up the sides of a new pot. It still seemed like magic to me the way she did it, shaping such a delicate and perfectly symmetrical vase with nothing but strength and spin. A few times I'd tried to use a wheel, I'd nearly broken my fingers and managed to turn a lump of clay into a slightly uglier lump of clay. Who knows what's true? Alex continued. These are just family stories. Legends. But my abuelo took them seriously. When he moved to Boston, he kept things the old way. Even if he was just making a plate or a cup, he'd create every piece by hand, with lots of pride and attention to detail. Blitzen would like that. Alex sat back, regarding her pot. Yeah, my granddad would have made a good dwarf. Then my dad took over the business and decided to go commercial. He sold out. He mass-produced lines of ceramic dishware, entered into deals with home furnishing supply chains. He made millions before people started realizing the quality was going downhill. I recalled her father's bitter words in my dream. You had so much potential. You understood the craft almost as well as your grandfather. He wanted you to carry on the family business. She studied me, no doubt wondering how I'd guessed. I almost told her about the dream, but Alex really did not like having people inside her head, even unintentionally, and I didn't like being yelled at. My father is an idiot, she said. He doesn't understand how I could like pottery, but not want to make money off of it. He definitely didn't appreciate me listening to my granddad's crazy ideas. Such as? Over at his work table, TJ kept poking holes in the clay slices with the dowel, creating different patterns like stars and spirals. This is kind of fun, he had admitted. Therapeutic. Alex's tizzier red lips curled at the edges. My abuelo made pottery for a living, but his real interest was in our ancestors' sculptures. He wanted to understand the spirituality of them. That wasn't easy. I mean, after so many centuries trying to figure out your heritage when it's been buried under, or so much else, Olmec, Aztec, Spanish, Mexican, how do you know what's true? How do you reclaim it? I got the feeling her questions were rhetorical, and didn't require answers from me, which was just as well. I couldn't think clearly with TJ humming Rio and doweling smiley faces in his clay. But your granddad managed, I guessed. He thought so, Alex spun up the wheel again, sponging the sides of her pot. So did I. My dad, her expression soured. Well, he liked to blame, the way I am, on Loki. He didn't like it at all when he found validation on the Fierro side of when I found validation on the Fierro side of the family. My brain felt like my hands, as if a layer of clay was tightening over it, sucking out all the moisture. Sorry, I don't understand. What does that have to do with magic ceramic warriors? You'll see. Fish the phone out of my pocket and call Sam, will you? Give her an update? Then shut up so I can concentrate. Even under orders, pulling something out of Alex's pants pocket while she was wearing said pants seemed like a good way to get myself killed. I managed, with only a couple of small panic attacks, and found Alex's phone had data service in the UK. She must have arranged that when she arranged her multi-currency theft. I texted Samara and gave her a lowdown. A few minutes later, the phone buzzed with her reply. K. GL. Fighting. GTG. I wondered if GTG in this context meant got to go, Gunderson throttling girlfriend, or giants torturing Gunderson. I decided to think optimistically and went with the first option. As the afternoon wore on, the back tables filled up with fired porcelain squares that looked like armored plates. Alex taught me how, by combining my coils to form cylinders that would serve as arms and legs. Her efforts at the pottery wheel produced feet, hands, and a head, all shaped like vases and meticulously decorated with Viking runes. She spent hours on the faces, 2 of them side by side, like the piece of art that Alex's father had shattered in my dream. The left face had heavy-lidded, suspicious eyes and a cartoon villain's curly mustache, and a huge grimacing mouth. The right face was a grinning skull with hollow eye holes and a lolling tongue. Looking at the 2 visages pressed together, I couldn't help thinking about Alex's own different-colored eyes. By evening, we'd laid out all of the pieces of the ceramic warrior on our quadruple table, creating an 8-foot-long Frankenstein's monster, some assembly required. Well, TJ wiped his forehead, that thing would scare me if I had to face it in battle. Agreed, I said, and speaking of faces, it's a duality mask, Alex explained. My ancestors from Tilatico. They made a lot of figurines with 2 faces, or 1 face with 2 halves. Nobody's sure why. My grandfather thought they represented 2 spirits in a single body, like my old Lenape friend, Mother William, TJ said. So I guess the native cultures down in Mexico had Arger too. He corrected himself quickly. Arger, the Viking word for someone of shifting, literally meaning unmanly, which was not an Alex-approved term. I studied the mask. I wonder the duality art spoke to you. No wonder the duality art spoke to you. Your granddad, he got who you were. He got it, Alex agreed, and he honored it. When he died, my dad did his best to discredit my abuelo's ideas, destroy his art, and turn me into the good little business person. I wouldn't let him. She rubbed the nape of her neck, maybe subconsciously touching the tattooed symbol of the figure-8 serpents. She had embraced shape-shifting, refusing to let Loki ruin it for her. She had done the same with pottery, even though her father had turned the family business into something she despised. Alex, I said, the more I find out about you, the more I admire you. Her expression was a mix of amusement and exacerbation, like I was a cute puppy that had just peed on the carpet. Hold the admiration until I can bring this thing to life, smooth talker. That's the real trick. In the meantime, we need some fresh air. She threw me another wad of money. Let's go get some dinner. You're buying.